Coach Hazelton, and then we'll get some players as well.
Good. How are you guys? What's up, all? Life good? Is it still morning? So sometimes you lose track of time during camp, right? You know, it is what it is. Oh yeah. It's good. It's good. It's living. Don't got a lot of time to do much with it, right? Yeah, it is what you don't have a lot of time to do those things, right? It's like your voice. You almost never get that thing back during camp. You know? I feel like I've been smoking cigars or something. Yeah, that's been an exciting thing for us to see some new legs out there and see guys running around and doing some new things and just having a chance to evaluate guys as we've gone through the camp. It's good to have depth because what it does is it creates that sense of competition. Where now you can start to go, okay, hey, this guy didn't have a very good day. That's okay. You know what I mean? You can take the 2 reps, we'll put this guy in with the 1s, and then all of a sudden, that sense of urgency comes back with maybe the guy who was in front, and it's all over the place, or if a guy does something that, hey, is a lack of discipline thing on the field where we're trying to stay up, and you go, well, you can, hey, get out, and we'll put some, and then they're missing those reps. Those reps don't go away, right? They just go to somebody else to get better, and when you have that piece of competition, you have that kind of depth, it helps your team get better, and guys do things right, and guys focus, and it just creates all that focus on what they're supposed to be doing.
How difficult was it this spring, particularly for you, with so few linebackers, so few defensive backs? Was that, normally you want to install a little bit, but I would imagine there's probably a lot more teaching.
Sure. And really spring ball most of the time isn't always about stacking up new things on top of new things. You have, with the COVID, you kind of put a little bit of base stuff in, you didn't get your whole package. And maybe you're going to teach a little more. But, it's really about technique and fundamentals, right? I mean, if you get the technique and fundamentals down and you learn how to do things, it allows you when you reinstall things come fall camp, well, now they already kind of know what to do. You can install a couple, okay, but they know how to do it, which is almost more important, when you had that opportunity with those guys. And so that built a pretty strong base. So at least when we got all the new guys that we had join us, at least there's some clips on tape. There's some things that you can point to. There's some clinic quality tapes that the other guys did that you can say, hey, this is how we want to do those things. And you can really teach off that. And you know how everybody learns differently. Some guys you can put a PowerPoint up there and they know what to do and they're good. Other guys, they're like, that means nothing. Show me. You know what I mean? Let's go out on the field and walk through it. So at least we had those things where we could show them. And that was helpful for us.
With the kids that came in.
Mm-hmm.
Player-led team, was that over the summer, kind of their duties, tell these new guys, this is how we do it?
Oh yeah, it goes down back to the culture, the culture that coach, hey, this is how we do things for practice. This is how we run on and off the field. This is how we stretch. This is how we end practice. This is how, all those things, they try to get it done. I don't know that they knew it until the coaches were out there during fall camp and, being on them about it. But it helped. And then the other part was, yeah, those guys, they get together and they do stuff during the summertime. Well, that's the learning process. That's where those guys who are new, because the other guys knew what to do and they kind of knew how to do it. They could watch tape. They could do all those things with them. And yeah, you got guys, whether it's in the secondary like X, it's getting all the DBs together and they're watching tape and they're doing that stuff and starting to get those guys into it, or Gerv talking to the corners about those things. So that's really a big piece of it. And now we hope that continues. You know what I mean? Like at practice, what do we do at practice? Well, at practice, we're running on and off. Well, they're starting to, hey, get off they'll send each other off they'll do those things. Stay up. They're starting to echo those things, and that's the culture you want to do, you want to build.
You got a lot of newcomers, obviously, but where are you, given the disruptions last year, you get a normal offseason for the most part, where are you scheme-wise installation, and just like players comfortable with what you want to do compared to last summer?
Yeah, we're at a much better place. You would say that, with the, I know, yeah, whatever. We had, it was what it was, right? I mean, that was what we got dealt, and we thought we did the best we could and all those kind of things, but it's not the same. You get the reps in the spring, like we talked about, so at least we can learn what to do. Well, that's that's something that you could take away forever. You could use that clip to teach everybody for years off of, you know, or, hey, here's the small thing. You know, guys were still learning that stuff in the spring that they would have learned the first spring that we didn't have because they didn't have an opportunity to go through that stuff. So for us, it was invaluable to start learning how to do stuff. There were still things in our package, maybe that we even ran last year, that the guys were kind of, well, if this, I can't, you know, they're thinking, well, you can't play as fast as you want when you're still in that mode, you know? So it was invaluable to have a normal year, and really it feels like a really good, you know, year one kind of, okay, here we go, let's go, and we're starting to understand it and starting to roll.
There's so much talk about the quarterback here in camp, obviously, and who's going to be 1 and 2. But on the defensive side, there's positions to figure out, position battles as well.
Oh, yeah.
How important is this second scrimmage in determining those, and how close are you think to it? A few spots kind of haven't been figured out at the similar.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question. You know, how scrimmages work, sometimes in the first one, you know, you'll expect a guy to play really, really good, or he's a guy that flashes, and you're going, hey, I'm so excited to see him play. But the first time that you say live, sometimes guys' minds go to, oh, I got to, you know what I mean? And they do stuff that they haven't been doing, and they do some weird things. So, you know, you get a feel for other guys, the lights come on, and they shine even brighter, and it's good to see. So you kind of have, like, if you were to say yes, you got a penciled in kind of idea what you're going to do. The second one's going to be great because now they've been through it. You know, they understand what the scrimmage is like. They understand what it's like. It's the same, man. Ball is ball. Whether it's out there in spiders, you know, and no pads, or whether it's live, it doesn't really matter. And so the guys are starting to get that, and that's what we hope, that we can really see people play and see where everybody fits. And then it starts to get more inked out. You know, and I know you're talking about, like, the quarterback and stuff. On defense, it's a little different, you know what I mean? We're going to have to play a lot of – I mean, we see a lot of teams that run a lot of snaps. And to be able to play those guys, we're going to need a lot of depth and be able to say, listen, maybe this corner got a go route and you got another go route. Well, he's going to step another dude in there. You know, and that's what we're hoping to build, that depth, and say, okay, yes, here's our 2 deep or 3 deep at this spot, and let's play all those guys. You know, that's the goal of every defense, I think.
Scotte, there's a lot of anticipation for this season because of the newcomers, Tavares Crouch and linebacker.
Sure.
What do you like about him? What has he done in camp that's been impressive, or just who is he? We haven't met him yet.
Oh yeah, he is a outstanding young man. He plays on the field with a lot of energy. You know what I mean? He's excited. He loves the game of ball. You know, when he's out there, he just loves. I mean, his energy is contagious to other guys. You know what I mean? He'll make some plays. He'll do some of that stuff, and he's excited. We're excited about him. You know what I mean? We still got to clean up some things. You know, he doesn't have all of his alignments down and some of the, you know, he'll still do some of those little things like that. But he's the guy that's going to be able to make some plays for us, and we're excited to see what he does in the second scrimmage. You know what I mean? To see where he fits in the defense.
What about Tank Brown, Scotty? I think the first day we were out here, I saw him at linebacker, and then since then, been doing some edge type of stuff. What did you see in him to make that move?
Yeah, he was a guy that. Here's the truth about it. I walked by the linebackers, you know, one day when they were doing some drills, and I looked over and they were doing just a pass rush drill, like rushing the back, and I saw him flip his hips, and I was like, there's so, you know, here's a guy that, and you know, it's always a thing. Like everywhere you ever are, you want to collect rushers, you know, and he's a guy that showed some flash and did some stuff, and we were just, hey, let's bring him down for a day or two just to see what he can do, and he's really done a good job. He's flashed, you know what I mean? He's still kind of transitioning a little bit of that, because he did spend, you know, he spent his whole time with Noah and Chase and those guys in the linebacker room, you know, learning that stuff. So he's a little bit in a different learning mode than the rest of the defensive ends. But he's playing that edge, man. He's got a good burst and a good bend, and you know, we'll see if he's got a chance to rush a little bit. You know, we're excited about him. Oh, Ben, he's been good. He's at every spot on defense has its own hardships, you know, and playing Mike linebacker, he got to control the whole thing, and he's a guy he's like, you know, maybe personality-wise a lot opposite of Q. Q will run around and he's always talking. Ben is very cerebral, you know what I mean, and it's been a good quality for him, because we've been really pleasantly pleased with him because he can walk up and he can look at things and process and know where to put the defense and control the stuff and get the communication that needs to be done. And that's the kind of guy you really want there, you know, and he's done a really good job picking those things up because he's a football guy, you know what I mean? You'll see him in there during our break. He's watching tape. He's studying his playbook. He's getting those things down. So he's very, very cerebral about those things. So he's not wrong, you know. And his work ethic shows through that stuff where he can say, "Hey, I can do this," and then has the ability just to go run and go make a play too. So I mean that's always a big part of it too. But he does have that ability, and we're excited about how hard he's working.
Scotty, with somebody like Sean Mallory, who made the body change.
Sure.
But if they talk about how that's translated and then how that has made him better and where you see him.
Yeah, those guys in the weight room did a good job with a lot of them cats. You know what I mean? He's a guy that, you know, he last year was a lot bigger. His explosion factor was less when he was that big. You know, and you like to have an ability to, you know, when it does turn to pass, you want your defensive tackles to at least get some push or be disruptive in there, and sometimes even the run game. You know, I mean, they're getting off the ball. And they know it's zone. He might go in. He might go. You know, what I mean, you get offensive linemen playing slower, and with his transformation, you know, it does show up on especially early in practice and stuff like that. I mean, we need to keep working later and later and later into practice and working those things. But early, just his ability to get off the ball, to be able to throw a move, to be able to set a different level, you know, on the offense and pass rush and that's really helped him. You know, like everybody, he's still got things he needs to work on, you know, but and I think that it's kind of changed the way he thinks of himself too, which is the cool thing, you know. I mean, those guys go in there, they get some muscles, you know what I mean? They can take their shirt off now in public, they're all happy, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where, hey, you know what I mean? I'm feeling good, and when you start to feel and your world gets right, a lot of times it takes a lot of stress off you on the field where you can focus on what you need to focus on. Sure. Yep.
First of all, how important is that to get those younger guys reps and make them, especially now?
Sure.
How much do you think? How do you
Yeah, you know what we're trying to figure out, and that's what a big scrimmage 2 will be about. You know, Simeon's had some really good flashes. You know, he's been a guy that showed up, and even with his snap and his body and his hands, and he's done some good things there. He still has got some things to work on where he doesn't always play with power all the time. You know what I mean? But like everybody, hey, we're working on these things. We identify these things and get him a chance to go. But you know, Mavs, he's a powerful dude. You know what I mean? He's a powerful dude. So you know, and that's part of what. Like you talk about scrimmage 2 is you say, okay, what can each guy do? What's his role going to be? Hey, this guy we might want to play against the run more. He's this kind of guy. You know, he's bigger, more physical, those kind of things. Hey, and this guy we might want to put in pass rush situation or second and long or however. And you start to get those ideas for subs. And, you know, Coach Burton will be working like crazy, get different personnel on the field every snap, you know, if we can, you know, with the speed of the game sometimes. But those things are things that it's great for those guys to get those reps. Because like we started off with, right? It's one of those things. The reps don't go away. You know what I mean? If someone gets he can't take, that's fine. You know, it's going to make someone else better and maybe make the quality of our room better. And how deep we can, I don't know. That's to be seen. That'll be seen, you know, the second scrimmage to say, okay, are we going to play 60 tackles? Are we going to play 5? You know what I mean? Are we going to play 7? I mean, that'll be seen. You know, you hope you get to a point where it's hard to tell. You know, you don't. Well, hey, all these 7, 8 guys can. Okay, well, let's see what we're going to put them in what slots.
What do you like about the transformation pictures that you've seen? Because the guys have been posting them all throughout social media pages. You know, showing everybody the progress that they have made. So what have you maybe enjoyed about seeing those pictures?
You know, I just think it's really just fun to see guys. Appreciate the work that's going on. You know what I mean? Like they have I think that when they look at that, because a lot of times you see yourself every day, right? And you see your teammates every day, so you don't notice those transformations. But when they look at them and you know, whatever, they're putting them out on social media or whatever. But hey, if I look at myself You know, 20 years ago, and I look at myself now, I go, God, I look ugly, right? I mean, and you appreciate the change that you made. Well, they see themselves and see how much they've grown and how much better they look. Well, then they start to appreciate the staff in the weight room. They start to be able to say, hey, listen, this is working. It is going the right way. This time that I'm straying in here is getting better. Or maybe they look almost the same. Well, I need to work harder because I see all these other guys, and they can compare and say, okay, I need to strain more. You know, and so I think just that's a little reward for them, you know what I mean, to see how much they've grown and what they've done and how the hard work's paying off.
In what areas can you build on what you did last year defensively? In what areas do you expect improvement? How's that?
Oh, geez, there's a bunch on last year, you know what I mean? I mean, the first thing is, you know, I think it always starts with stopping the run. You know what I mean? We got to do a good job setting an edge all the time on the defense so the ball doesn't get outside so everybody else can play. You know, we got to keep the line flat. Yeah, maybe yards, whatever. We just got to keep the ball contained in there, right? We could, because that sets up everything else, right? If you get a chance where you can stop the run and it always starts there, well, now you got a chance to, you know, now we earn the right to pass rush. And a lot of times that's where your takeaways come from, right? You get a team that's off schedule and now it's second long, they're going to throw. Well, you can call a defense that's better than that because you're kind of whittling down what they can do. And then third down, you can really tee off. And those are the things, because let's be real, most takeaways come from the quarterback and quarterback disruptions. And to put yourself in a position where we're either ahead in a ball game where we can rush all the time, or we as a defense do our job and get off schedule, get a team off schedule, where we can get ourselves in position to rush. That's where a lot of those things come from. Whether, hey, we hit him, he felt pressure, threw off his back foot. Those are all the interceptions come from. We get a chance to get more of those, right? And that's really what turns it. We got to flip the field for the offense. You know what I mean? We got to, hey, they started on a 25. You know, now we knocked them down for 0. Now it's 2nd and 10 on 25. Well, we got a chance to do something. Okay, now it's 3rd and 8. You know, on 20. Okay, we got out to. Well, now we just created a field position for our team, and that's really our job because it's just about getting the ball back to the offense. You know, and if you get in those situations where you get long, maybe you get a sack fumble, right? Maybe you get a chance to hit the quarterback. Maybe you get a chance to call some plays where you can mix up some pressure things that confuses them, or he just throws the ball off his back and we get a pick in the back end. Those are all the things that we really need to improve on. We need to do a better job putting ourselves in those situations.
What about your ability to stop the run and win the end?
Yeah, I think we're getting better. I mean, that's been the focus the whole fall and all last spring, you know, and we're hoping we're steadily improving every day. You know, it'll be seen. You know, there's times we do a great job against our offenses, or there's time we don't, you know, and it's a tribute to them, you know, working some different things and some schemes, but it's challenging us, and that's what we need to see. Good. You know, he got his weight back after all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? His body's starting to get right, so I'll be excited to see what he does this year. You know, I'll be excited to see. Yeah. Yeah. I can't really say his last name either. I'm not gonna lie to you. Coach Els knows it pretty dang good. But Ma is a good natural instinctive linebacker. You know, he was a guy that when he first stepped on the field, like the very first day, the gravity of being out there with a whole bunch of guys who are better than he's played with or against, you know, in his whole life, it didn't hit him. You know, he just lined up, and he might have been lined up wrong, but he sees where the ball goes, and then he goes and gets the ball. Yeah, and there's those guys who might think and feel it. He doesn't do that, which is beautiful to see in a young man. You know what I mean? He has ability. He can read plays. He can key and diagnose really fast, and he gets there. So we're excited. I mean, we'll see where he fits. I mean, we're excited about that dude too. I mean, that's the cool thing about having. You know, we don't get preseason games, but we get scrimmages, and that's the cool thing about having those scrimmages is you get a chance to evaluate these guys over and over. You know, and at least say, hey, let's see where they fit in. You know, but he is a good, natural, instinctive linebacker that, hey, you know, we'll see where he fits into the mix.
What about some of those other freshmen like Brantley?
Brantley's done a great job.
Weird to not have seen these guys really in person.
Sure. You know, like if you start in the back end, I guess if we're going to talk about the young guys a little bit, Chuck's done a phenomenal job. He's a guy that trusts his technique, who takes coaching, who can run. You know what I mean? I know that he's, you know, super light right now, but that dude will strike you. He's got contact courage, you know. Booth came in a little bit after Chuck did, but has flashed on the field, is starting to get things down. You know what I mean? Right away, he was like kind of feeling his way a little bit, but he's taking coaching and he's starting to get better in technique. And we're trying to figure out what slot is he in? Is he going to play here, here, here? You know, he's smart like that. He can do some things. I'm trying to think all the freshmen that we got. Like a guy like Derek Harmon has showed up as a stout, really stout man inside. You know, he's a dude that he does use his hands and he has power. You know what I mean? He can hold. I mean, we got some pretty good offensive linemen out there. You know what I mean? And like you said, with guys getting nicked up or whatever, or maybe you just want to give a break or try a guy out. You know, when a guy flashes against, when it's 3s on 3s, he's flash. Okay, put him against 2. Okay, put him against 1s for a couple snaps. Let's see how. And he hasn't shied down to any of those things. You know, he's been pretty good. The 2 linebackers, we're excited about both of them. I think they're very instinctual guys. I think Ma's probably a little bit ahead in that race just because he is a bursting, natural, key and diagnosed, just ball player. I think he still needs to clean up what to do, in his defense and some of the moving parts and stuff, and you just got to reduce the package, and that's what we do. Let's be real. On the scrimmage days, man, hey, go out there and play. Let's see you play. You don't want to scheme anybody to death. Just line them against the offense and go make a tackle. Shed a block, see what it is, go make a tackle, and he's done a good job at that. And then when he gets in the game, you got to figure out with all those young guys, if they when they get in, you just got to be able to say, okay, now let's scale it back and what can we really do, right? I mean, you don't want to be calling year 2 defenses with a year 1 guy unless he's a special really cerebral guy. Sure.
Now you got the freshmen, you got the transfers, it's a blank. Trying to make that fit.
It's great. It's great. It's great because not only did that put stress on those guys to learn and compete, and like we talked about, hey, they do something, okay, go. So, you know what I mean? And it makes them want to be on the field and grind and compete against each other. But it also transferred some of the power and empowered our safeties to speak up more. Where now we got to be able to look at each other and say, hey, this is what we're doing. You good? Yeah, we're both. So we're all on the same page. And it forced those guys, it forced them to really communicate. And that's what we want, player-led team, where they're on the field being the general, running the show. Well, it made those safeties, Michael Dowell's of the world, the X's of the world, you know what I mean? The Jellos of the world, those guys be able to say, hey, do you know what you got? Yes, do you know what you, okay, are we, okay, oh, it moved. Hey, did this change? You know what I mean? And it forced those guys to speak, which helps us as a defense because the more we communicate, the better we are.
Last question for Coach Hazelton.
Could you just sort of give us an overview of the nickel position? Who are the names? And
Sure.
Is that a thing that you can sort of go deeper with and do more things?
Sure. Right now, Michael Dowell still playing nickel. Behind him is Snow. And then Terrell. And we've also been working like Chaz in there some. We've been working Gerv in there some. You know what I mean? It's kind of a nickel by committee right now. Michael Dowell's the guy that's been shining bright, just like he's a good football player and he can do a lot of things. And so let's try to get as many of the best guys we got out there, but we're still creating competition with him with some of them other guys, you know what I mean? And it's still a deal. They all meet together, so they all know what to do in each one, and it might be a situational deal. You might see a different guy in there depending on what we're doing or not. And you like to have that ability where if a team's going fast, well, you have your whole defensive calls. But if a team's going slow enough where we can sub, you put in whoever you want personnel-wise to do the same things. And that's really what we're looking forward to. So, thanks for the time. See y'all. Thank you.